This is part 2 of my yo-yo tutorials for my school project, and today we'll be learning just a couple simple, more beginner tricks again. A little more complicated, but still simple, and also how to take care of your yo-yos, which is very important if you're looking into doing this long term, or even long term for a few months. You're just gonna want to be able to take care of your yo-yos. And one thing you're gonna need for this is you're gonna need yo-yo bearing lube. For responsive yo-yos, which a lot of you probably have if you're beginners, you're going to want thick lube. The thick lube is for basically regular responsive bearings. Thin yo-yo lube is for unresponsive bearings. So just keep that in mind when you're buying this. So when you use this, you're just going to want to put a little bit of it, just a little tiny square, into a bearing. So it'll just, if your bearing is dirty or it's kind of sounding a little grimy, so you're just going to want to do that if you're planning on doing yo-yo for a long time. That's one thing. Also, taking care of your yo-yos, you're going to want to replace the string. To replace the string, there's 2 threads in the yo-yo. You can twist them apart, kind of. You see how there's 2 little strings. You just pull those apart and put it around the yo-yo, and you should just be able to twist it back together, and it'll twist back to normal and kind of zip it a little bit, make sure it's looking good. And that should be that's an easy way to replace a string. There's no real hard way. That's the only major way you can replace a string. I'd say do not open up the yo-yo and put the string around the bearing, because that can make it so when you close the yo-yo, it'll pinch the string and maybe even cut it off. So just keep that in mind when you're replacing the string. So that's just one thing you're going to want to know. And the first trick I'm going to be teaching you is rock the baby. It's a very iconic trick. It looks like this. It's very iconic, and a lot of people know this trick. It's pretty simple, honestly. It may look a little bit complicated, but all you got to do is throw the yo-yo down like normal, and just grab the yo-yo with your entire fist somewhere around this middle section, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher actually. And just grab it full fist and just place your thumb, just push your thumb into this, so it kind of opens up a triangle, kind of like pizza. It doesn't matter if your yo-yo stops spinning, you can learn it. It's kind of like a picture trick, so you can learn it while it's not spinning. And you just kind of have it in that almost like a pizza shape, like we showed you in the last tutorial. You're just going to want to rock it through the 2 strings without it actually going out of the string, or else it could kind of bundle up. You don't want that. You're just going to want to have it go right through the middle. It'll help if the yo-yo is spinning though. So when you're learning this, it'll help if the yo-yo does spin, because then it'll make it go in a set direction, so it doesn't kind of go through a twist around into the other string. One more trick that I want to show you is Eiffel Tower. But first, I want to show you a couple little things you can do with Rock the Baby. So, like I said, if you have it spinning like this, it'll be a lot easier to kind of position it, because it's not going to be floating all over the place. And also, just make one thing, if you want to learn it a little bit faster, make sure to learn pizza. That just it'll kind of set you up a little bit. It's not completely the same, but you can kind of do a pizza Rock the Baby if you just kind of lift it up a little bit. It's not going to be perfect, but it just kind of helps if you want to learn that trick. And the next trick I want to show you, like I said, is Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower is a picture trick, so you can also learn this one without the string being or the yo-yo being actually spinning. So if you're learning this right now, just stop the yo-yo, just grab it, and that's all you really need to do for starting the practice. When you're doing picture tricks, you can just let it dangle at the end. The first thing you want to do is slingshot, just like you did with the last tutorial. It's a very simple trick. Just hold your hand like this, your yo-yo hand, just pull the string through, so it's kind of leaning against your thumb and everything. It's not actually connected, it's just kind of going through. But instead of letting it go and doing slingshot, what you're going to want to do is reach your hand inside of there, just go inside of the string and grab this. Just pinch it with your finger and just pull it out and twist your hand. Let me give you a little tip on that. There's a couple little things. So when you're doing this, don't make sure the slingshot isn't too big, or else it's just gonna, obviously that doesn't work. You just don't want to do that. So when you're doing this, just make sure you have like a good, it's not too small so it doesn't like do that or anything. You don't want that. Just make it sure you get that perfect size down so it doesn't. And also when you're doing that, make sure you don't let go of your thumb. Some people let go of this and then it just ends up looking all just untying basically. You just want to hold your thumb there still and just twist it over. Pull it down and twist it over so you get the full middle part is still there. It doesn't squeeze in. And also all the separate legs look the same. It's going to take a while to get consistency down, make it all look good every time. But eventually you'll be able to do it so at any point in time you could just quickly do one. So that's one simple trick you can learn. Let me show you one more time. Pull the string through, just grab it, pinch it with your hand, and then fold your hand over like that. And it'll be an Eiffel Tower. So there's one trick. The next trick I want to show you is probably brain twister. Brain twister is a very cool trick you can learn. It'll help if you're using an unresponsive yo-yo. We'll get into that in the next tutorial if you want to check that out. Unresponsive yo-yoing is where it doesn't come back up with a tug. You can still do this trick with a responsive yo-yo, but occasionally it might come back up. The trick is basically just flips with the yo-yo. You just kind of like flip it around. Let me back up. It's a pretty simple trick. All you gotta really do, you just gotta basically layer the string. Just take the string and put it behind the yo-yo into the like groove of the yo-yo. Let me put it closer up so you can see. You're just taking the thing, just putting it right behind the yo-yo, like right basically where you're looking at, right into that part, and then just bringing your hand to the string and just like throwing it around a couple times with your hand. It'll take a second to learn this because obviously a lot can go wrong when you're just flipping it around. You don't really have an amazing amount of control, but you can definitely make it consistent when you're doing this trick. So like I said, put it the right way for a brain twister. You're going to want to put it just like right where you can see, in the area you can see, and just basically put your hand there and flip it around. Obviously I wasn't getting any spin there, but you understand the point. You just want to flip the yo-yo so it kind of looks cool. It's very impressive for people that don't yo-yo. And it's not even that hard to do, especially after a little bit of practice. Let me show you one more time. And you can just drop it down and bring it back to your hand. That's about the entire trick. And that's the end of this video also. So, okay, see you in part 3.